Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Turple Harris,
Greg Nagel.
Still drunk from last night, Joe Senegalia.
I got beer in my eyeball.
I just saw
I'm like,
yeah, so
welcome to the first show, fourth show.
Yeah, exactly. It's already the fourth show. I told Joe that reference last night too, so now he gets it.
Nice.
First show.
This week on the show, we are celebrating Timbo. We recently had Timbo Week. What was it, a week?
Timbo?
2 weeks ago, maybe? A week ago? I don't know. If you're unfamiliar, Timbo is a beer that is made by Highland Park Brewery out of Los Angeles. And it's a very, very hoppy pils. And once a year, they have Timbo Week where they make a bunch of different variants of it. And they also share the recipe. I believe it's a publicly posted recipe, too, for the beer. And other guest breweries, or I don't know, I think you can just brew it if you want to brew it. It doesn't matter. But other breweries all over the country, and I don't know, I guess you could say country because Pint House did one, and they're out of Texas. Joe recently did that on his channel, I think a couple days ago. But this week, we have the Highland Park version. We have one from Alvarado Street, one from Cellarmaker, one from Everywhere, and I think that's it. Maybe.
Yeah, we didn't get North Park or Pint House. We missed those ones.
Yeah. So
has Green Cheek ever done one? It seems like a natural progression of Timbo.
I thought they did one a couple years ago, right?
I could have sworn they had.
I thought
Maybe,
they did it like 2 years ago.
I'd be surprised if
Maybe
they
they're
didn't.
Green Cheek is too popular now, and they're like, we'll let these Everywhere guys
Let the peasants
swoop
brew it.
in on it.
Timbo's not good enough to be in their breweries. So.
This Joe guy alone is pretty much keeping us afloat, so we don't really need to.
Dude, seriously, bro.
Yeah,
I was there yesterday with John.
Yeah, I spent a couple $100 yesterday.
It's probably easier for you guys to say when you're not there.
I know, right? I'm like, you guys know there's other breweries, right?
That is true. If it's a weekend, I'm probably a Green
It's
Cheek. It's
the
fine.
dude, the new spot in Oceanside, formerly Bagby. It's just so nice, and the weather's nice.
It's so great.
I don't know, it's a cool vibe there, and it's
It was packed yesterday too, dude. It was packed.
It kind of sucked. Yeah, it took a while to get some beers sometimes, but. So, Greg, you did a little research on Timbo. I don't know much about the history and lore of this beer. Why don't you fill us in a little bit?
So, yeah, I dug deep in the internet and went to a website called hopculture.com, which appears to be a really well-curated site. I need to put that in my wheelhouse of
I've seen some good stuff there.
Yeah, it's quality writing and good photos and lots of good info. So highly recommend checking it out. So I'm just going to sort of summarize. In 2015, Highland Park had another brewer. His name was Tim McDonald, hence the Timbo Pils. And he was I guess he's currently a sour brewer and wood cellar manager at Monday Night Brewing back east.
Great brewery, by the way.
But at the time, he worked at Highland Park, and they were going to a cask ale fest up in LA, I would assume at Yorkshire Square. And they didn't have anything available, so they wanted to make a hoppy pils. And instead of just adding extra hops to the cask, they decided to blend their current Pilsner, I think it's called Refresh, and their West Coast IPA called Hello LA, and they did a blend of the two beers in a cask, and they're like, this is magical, and decided to make Timbo Pils. So it's Tim's Bo Pils. I never really put that together that it's a Bo Pils, but
I thought the bow was for Bob.
Tim Bob?
That,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, that would make
He's
sense
the other
too.
brewer
Yeah,
at the time.
Is he? Bo? Bob? Tim and
He
Bob.
is the brewer.
Tim Bob Pils.
Yeah, you kind of shorten it to Timbo.
They
I
need to make a
like the
beer
Bo
called Tim
Pills
Bob.
thing. That I don't know. I mean, it makes sense to have Bob's name in there too, but I like I don't know. It could be both. Let's just say it's both.
It mentions it's a 50-50 blend of the two beers, which is kind of fascinating. And I've had Hello LA before,
Oh,
and it's a
great beer.
fantastic IPA.
Yep.
So this is still
And,
just a blend, like, or it's an actual recipe?
No.
Okay.
So they decided after that to go back and figure out an actual West Coast Pils recipe and create the recipe. It was Citra Mosaic dry hop on top of a normal. It looks like they use German hops and technique, like a traditional Pils, and then just dry hop the shit out of it.
Fun story about Hello LA. I was seeing Killswitch Engage in Pomona one time, and at the Rookery right there, Adam D from Killswitch was there ordering a Hello LA, and he said it was the best IPA he'd had on the whole tour.
It's a good
Nice.
beer, dude.
Yeah.
That beer's fantastic.
Yeah, it says from Tim McDonald real quick. He said, I wanted to call it Tim's Bow Pills, but it got shortened to Timbo Pills. I thought it was a funny name. It seemed to make sense. So that was all.
Yeah, it's one of those beer names that I've seen around and just never thought about it. It's just like, oh, it's Timbo. What's that? I don't know. It's what they called it.
The can art's super cool with it's a bass guitar, right? What is that? Like, what's does anybody know? Is there a story behind that?
It looks like it's a 6-string guitar, so it's a regular guitar, but the strings are busted off. So,
and like they're making the name, it spells the name Timbo. Yeah, I wonder what that is.
Guitar, maybe.
It's very like, it's one of those beers like you see the label, you know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
This beer is my happiness hotel, by the way, as you can tell by my glassware.
Yeah, that's authentic leaded paint one too. You can tell because the colors look just as good as they did in 1977 when they put the lead on there.
I love it.
Look at me rocking the new glassware.
Ensign Associates, 1981.
Yeah, we're all getting new glassware, by the way. Everyone's getting a case. So if you see us around, we might have a glass to give you. So,
dude, I passed out a lot of stickers last night at the party, by the way.
Nice. And we have stickers too. Yeah, got new stickers.
Hell
made.
Yeah.
I would like some.
And 3 people, speaking of Green Cheek, 3 people hit Joe up. They're like, hey man, I love your videos. It's like, fuck. Damn.
That's awesome.
That was rad, dude.
He gave a guy his phone number so he can get some of his homebrew.
There you go.
We get some homebrew play, yeah.
Pretty funny. So yeah, the first beer, this is the Highland Park variant or version, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it seems appropriate to start with that one.
OG.
Because it's their beer. So
it is mosaic heavy on the nose.
Yeah.
It is dank blue. Well, my can
I get blueberry on there. That is grassy blueberry. It smells
my favorite
bright.
part of mosaic, dude. I love that blueberry thing.
Oh, I can almost chew, like feel the blueberries in my mouth. That's how blueberry it smells.
You can chew the aroma.
Yeah, it's weird.
I love it.
It's got to be a weird place to be like, because the best breweries tend to get the first hop picks, right? They get like the good mosaic. And it must suck to be like an up and coming brewery who's like, all I get is the fucking leftover garbage mosaic, and like, I can't get to be the good brewery because nobody buys my beer because I get the shitty mosaic. So
that's where hops like Idaho 7 creep into bills. Like, oh my god, dude!
But those good breweries had to start off as shitty little breweries. That's especially Highland Park. They were brewing out of the back of a fucking bar. Like they had nothing.
Their mash tun. Yeah, their mash tun was literally a jacuzzi.
It was
like an LA porn jacuzzi.
That's awesome.
Dude, I miss the Hermosillo. I haven't been out there since they opened downtown LA, but that was where the whole banana car thing started.
Yep.
Because there's like a weird hoarder house next to Highland Park, and they had a coin operated machine with the banana car guy. Became like our mascot for a while.
Yeah.
We were the banana car brigade for a while, but that's kind of died off.
I remember when I got a banana car, I was super stoked. I'm like, wow, I finally got a banana car.
I think Zach like bought all of the banana car toys on fucking eBay. They're like McDonald's toys from like the 90s.
Yeah.
And he just bought the whole supply.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, you guys get blueberries, but I'm just getting over a cold, so the blueberries aren't necessarily at the front of my palate here, but I'm getting like sort of like dank lemon herbal, and then the tropical kicks in a little bit, and it's just
the lemon thing. You're right; it's very like a zesty, pithy kind of citrus, like like oily, like rind of something.
Yeah, like Ricola almost.
Well, like what?
And a nice Ricola.
Oh, that's like, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, it's got that little Ricola on the back palate.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was looking forward to doing this because, like you said, Jason, it was going to be interesting to see how them using the same hops but different. You know, everyone's getting different hops. You said how different the aromas and the flavors of these beers were going to be.
Although you'll note that the only people that are releasing Timbos are the ones that also get the good
hops. Yeah. That's a good point.
Like Cellarmaker, Alvarado Street, like everywhere, like
North
they all
Park.
get the good stuff too. Yeah.
Dude, it's seriously the Mount Rushmore of good breweries, right?
It really is for West Coast IPA. Like in California, those guys are some of the biggest hitters out there.
And Pint House too. when I was out visiting Kyle from the chat out in Austin, he took me to Pint House, and goddamn, their beers are good.
Just real quick, because you guys just named like amazing breweries in California, it is still living rent free in my head. Someone on Threads the other day said that California has nothing on Michigan breweries, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't
come
got
on out.
founders here.
I was like, dude, I work near Carlsbad. I'm like, Carlsbad alone has better breweries than everywhere in Michigan. Just Carlsbad.
We don't got Smooge here, so Michigan's really fucking.
Dude, I seriously, I have not stopped
So
thinking
funny.
about that. I'm like, this dude is fucking insane. What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much
You're
for
not wrong.
dick stepping on other states' beers, but
Right, no,
you know,
listen.
I have a lot of family in Michigan, and they take me to breweries all the time out there. They're fine.
Yeah. But
you
I'm
know,
saying-
we're
Carl-
spoiled out here.
Carlsbad, California alone has better breweries than everything in Michigan.
Maybe they
Like-
just really like Bell's.
Spitting
Bell's
facts.
is in Michigan.
But the dude wanted to say like
Bell's
Vermont, like
Kalamazoo,
I would say like, Vermont, like, yeah, that's a good argument. Like Vermont could have better beer than California, but not fucking Michigan. Sorry.
No, like
yeah, I mean,
Oregon maybe.
I had to get that out. I just had to get
Oregon's
that
got
out.
Oregon,
good
Colorado.
stuff.
I would say Colorado
Uh,
per capita.
you know what? Colorado's not great at these days is at least if they're making it that
Baseball.
I'm not seeing it. Fucking hoppy beer. Like, what's a good hoppy Colorado beer that you?
yeah. What Colorado
Uh,
breweries do we still get here? Do we still get Avery?
Was it the Maharaja?
Maharaja, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly my point. Is that we're going back to a fucking 15-year-old crystal malt fucking.
I don't know, man.
Dude, but when you
Triple
sit and
IPA.
think about it, California is pretty unfuckwithable when it comes to beer. Like there's
Yeah,
not many
California's
states.
as big as like
It's-
14 other states.
I'm just saying it's the best beer that in the country. Like,
and it's not
nobody's
even
making-
just
Yeah.
like Southern California, like Central California, Northern California, everything.
Everywhere.
The whole state is locked down with like great beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I don't want to hate on Michigan, but to say that it's better than California or not,
Well, I'm not hating on
specifically
Michigan. I'm hating on the
California.
dude who said that.
Yeah,
Come at the king, you better not miss.
exactly.
Yeah. Like if I'm a European or something and I'm like literally just booking travel to the US just for beer, I'm not
California.
flying to Michigan.
No.
Pure Michigan.
I would
So-
honestly fly to LA and drive down to San Diego.
You, Mr. Person on Threads who said that, are insane.
Joe's thinking about you every day.
I see it lives rent
Hating
free.
on Michigan, and yet you've been quoting ICP all morning. The duality of
Whoop,
Joe.
whoop. Whoop,
It's
whoop.
made with that lake water beers.
I'm gonna try to save some of these as I go to kind of A/B test them.
Oh yeah,
As you
same.
should.
I hate being tested my
Inside joke.
God.
Which one do we want to do next? I
Oh,
didn't
we didn't
put
even really
them-
talk about this. This beer's awesome.
Oh yeah, I thought we.
We've had it on the show before.
Okay.
I did look it up. Green Cheek has made one. I think they made one last year. It would make sense that they kind of rotate breweries in and out.
For some reason, I thought anybody could brew it. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought they had a recipe posted and all this other shit. You could.
I mean,
just-
I'm sure they hit them up and they're like, "Hey, is it cool if we do one for Timbo Week or whatever?"
Yeah, because they got to
Or
get
like
the
the
label
other
art
way.
and all that stuff, right?
that's true.
Yeah.
Let's go alphabetical. How's that? Alvarado
So
Street.
Alvarado. Okay.
I also noticed the only brewery that did a different label was Everywhere.
Because they're hipsters.
Yeah, and they did it correctly too, because it's like a bizarro version of the label. That's
Yeah, no, it's
Still
cool.
I like that
looking.
they did their own. The other breweries are pretty lazy. They should have done their own thing.
what the hell.
Apparently,
Alvarado?
the blue gloves with the white undergloves is like what they wore in the brewery, and that's kind of like what the little joke is on.
Ah.
Alvarado is the little bear guy, right? This one? That's Alvarado.
Yeah. I mean, it says Alvarado Street
Oh,
Brewery
it does.
in really big fucking letters on the side.
Jason, listen, I'm still intoxicated.
Wow, it smells totally different.
Does it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Why? It's the same shit. No, that's crazy.
Oh, it smells way different. This
I
smells
would
like
guess-
Yeah, right?
Oh
this
my
has
god.
this has like an earthy funk to it.
Alvarado
Totally.
generally has like
Wow.
without smelling it yet, like they feel like they have a softer approach to how they hop beer.
It
Like
smells.
they're
Jason, you say that, and when I say something smells soft, that's the first thing that popped into my head. Is like this smells like pillowy and more a little on the like kind of how like a hazy would smell to me.
yeah, it does smell like a hazy boy, honestly.
Doesn't it smell funky though? Does
It
anybody else
does.
get that?
It's like an earthy.
I get the
funk.
passion fruit. Passion
little bit
fruit,
more-
like a little.
It's a little more clear too than the Highland Park one was.
Compared to the Highland Park is just super fruity. Where this one
This is much more dank on my palate too. It's very grassy, earthy.
I get the big
Wow.
lemongrass off of it.
This tastes completely different.
This almost tastes like it has like Idaho 7 hops in it. That's the kind of earthy funk, but not like to the point of like that smelly sock kind of vibe. But it's
Little underripe papaya, and then I still get that lemon verbena, lemon zest.
Fuck, what is verbena? I gotta.
This is like it feels like it's a little bit thinner on the mouthfeel than the Highland Park beer was, but it's got like this like tropical fruit flavor to the hops. This is super crushable, like even more than the Highland Park one. I feel like this one is just like a crusher.
I
feel
agree.
like the carbonation's a little less too on the Alvarado.
What's weird is I got a ton of head, so maybe it like foamed off the carbonation or something. Mine foamed up a lot when I poured it.
Mine did too, but
Yeah,
it
the
dissipated.
Highland
very
Park is
quickly.
a little more prickly on the palate, whereas Alvarado's a little more like less carbed.
And the Highland Park
But
has a long-lasting, lingering bitterness at the end, like that hangs out in the back of my tongue.
Yeah, Jason was saying this one's crushable. I agree. Like it's not as intense on your palate.
It's very Pilsner forward, whereas Highland Park seems a little more on the IPA side, right? Or IPL side.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is no shade on
this is
Highland
really
Park, but this is damn good. I mean, not that
I mean,
Highland Park's
again,
is
we're-
bad. They're different beers. It's crazy.
We're watching a bunch of like the IPA Hall of Fame come out and make a West Coast Pilsner, so it's like that.
Do you think it bums like would it bum out people at Highland Park if they like to have someone else's version of Timbo and like fuck this is better than ours?
No, I think they'd be like, "What the fuck did you do?" Like,
Yeah, how'd
so
you do
we
that?
can
Yeah.
maybe try to do something like that because for it being the same ingredients and it's so different, that's got to be intriguing as the people who invented it.
And doing this format where you're having a bunch of other breweries brew the beer, you're not doing that just so you can swing your big dick on the table and be like, "Yeah, I knew mine was better."
That's a good point. Yeah.
I do kind of think like it would be fun if I was a brewer. I'd be like, I want to make the best version of their beer just to send it to have them drink and be like, fuck, this is really, really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get that competitive thing in.
Looking at Untapped, by the way, it's kind of fun seeing some of the other breweries that have done Timbo. Not necessarily this year, but like besides Green Cheek, Cloudburst has done it.
Yeah,
Monday Night Brewing, which we just learned is where
of course.
Tim actually ended
Tim
up.
McDonald.
Amalgam
that's cool.
Brewing has done them. Burial has done one.
Yes.
Cloudburst did theirs this year. I think I'm getting some of that. If I get extra cans, I'll send them to you guys to drink
Oh,
them.
sweet.
Yeah.
They're in the UK, right? They're England.
No,
England.
I thought Cloudburst is what's the place in Seattle? Cloud something. That's the one I'm getting.
yeah. No, you're right. It is. They are Seattle.
Okay,
Who
yeah,
am I
so that's-
thinking of then?
Omnipolo? Is that who you're thinking of?
No, the
No,
British
there's another
hazy-
Cloud.
the
Yeah, there's
British
another
hazy
Cloud.
guys.
Yeah. Shoot. You're right. But Cloudburst in Seattle did Timbo this year, and I think I'm getting
Cloud
cans of
Water.
that.
That's who you're thinking of.
Oh, that's just rain.
Well, it says they're from England.
The marine layer. That's all that is.
Cloud Water. They have a 3.96 brewery rating on Untapped, so they're from Manchester.
Not quite that four. Not quite that four.
Is that like a good brewery rating for Untapped? I always talk about hating Untapped ratings.
Over
is that
four
good?
is like hype. Under four is like, they're
Oh,
good.
gotcha.
3.96
Around
is
3.6 or lower. is
you're a
like
good
If I
brewery.
remember right, Cloudwater has been on Firestone.
Mhm.
They were at the Firestone Invitational a few times. So
I think you're right.
to me, that's a testament of quality.
Man, I could drink this beer all day. This is so
It's good stuff.
Man.
Good stuff.
And it's the same alcohol, a completely different beer. That's crazy.
Holy smokes. Chew your beer. I had all 14 Timbos in one time. Get after it, playa.
Phenomenal evening. You
Fuck
sleep
yeah,
in
it
that
was.
park across
The
the street.
Timbo
or
ship,
what?
It was a phenomenal evening.
Hopefully you were Ubering.
Now he's
I
part
swear to
man,
God-
part hop.
50% of the time I'm going to Highland Park, there's like some sort of weird music festival for Gen Z bands that I've never heard of happening at that fucking park. Like, it's always something happening there, which makes the whole area a shit show.
Man,
That's very
this is
tasty.
It's delicious.
I kind of don't want to move on. I just want to drink this beer and hang out.
You know what, John? You got to move on, playa.
I do get like a little tea character on the finish too. Like a little tannic.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like that. Little kiss of tannic on the end.
Just a smidge.
Just a little. mwah.
A little peck.
So we're going Cellarmaker alphabetically, right?
If I remember right, when I searched for Cellarmaker before, like Cellarmaker.com is like a fucking coffin company or something.
Oh, no. Is it really?
I remember it being something weird like that.
Speaking of West Coast IPAs and amazing breweries, Cellarmaker makes one of my favorite beers of all time. Mo Strata, is that what it was?
Mo Strata.
John?
Oh my god.
You guys had that, right? Yeah, the Mosaic and Strata IPA.
Oh yeah,
Holy
Mostrada's.
smokes.
Yeah, it is one of the best IPAs I've ever had.
Dude, it's unreal.
Cellarmaker during COVID was one of those breweries that I ordered quite a bit of beer from.
Oh yeah, me too.
During lockdown.
I think that was one of our first remote shows that we ordered beer from. Was in the Mostrata. Cellarmaker.com.
Williams, one of my favorite beers.
Cellarmaker.com is a company that makes custom wine cellars. So
They've stepped it up too. I remember the last time we did a Cellarmaker show and I found that site, it looked like a GeoCity site. Now it looks like a Squarespace site.
Does it have the little under construction guy with a
Pretty much.
It's got the hard hat, shovel, the hard hat, under construction.
Dude, it's so crazy. This beer smells so different than the last one.
So you're on the Cellarmaker, right?
I am, yeah. It doesn't have that funk to it, does it, Greg? Do you smell that?
I'm smelling honestly just a little BO on it, which is like super dank.
Some Famunda cheese.
It's like Philadelphia cab driver a little bit on the nose.
It could be so nice.
Fucking Philadelphia specifically.
Yeah, after
Wasn't
going out drinking.
This one does smell dank.
Is that Tommy Boy when he was like rubbing himself with the thing? Like, you smell like a cab driver in there, and the cab's like, not that there's anything wrong with that.
I don't remember.
Man, this is zippy on the finish.
On the nose, is a little more subdued. Not home. It's got some dank on it, but it's not popping off like the first.
This
two.
is much more prickly on your palate. You're right, Greg. Zippy is a good word.
Mm-hmm.
The hop characters, I'm getting a lot more dankness out of the hops, to use a very fucking descriptive word. But
What's that Mosaic though?
I'm getting a lot of Mosaic off of this, like very, very purpley blueberries, like dark berry fruit.
Gosh, these beers are so good.
Still comparing to Highland Park's. I do get the blueberry on the nose, but Highland Park's just pops way more with the blueberry note. This is, like I said, in my opinion, way more subdued.
Sub, dude.
yeah, this one does seem milder of the bunch. I mean, again, these are all A beers. Like they really are. Like
I'm not going into this to critique.
Yeah.
No, that's not happening. I'm just trying to see how different they are from one another.
It's good to like go back to Highland Park's a little bit, take a sip, and then go back to each one to compare and contrast.
I finished it.
Oh,
The whole thing? You should have saved some.
So
I should have saved some, but I finished it.
Chew your beer goes, Jason's the only one pouring entire cans in his glass. Jason's an absolute legend.
Dog life.
As the kids say, he's a unit.
Absolute unit.
Absolute dog.
Yeah, this one, the hop character lingers on the palate a little bit more. It lingers on the back of your palate. You just taste like you drank something hoppy, where I felt like the Alvarado one kind of cleans up a little bit more.
For sure.
They both are good in their own way. It's just kind of two different vibes on the same experience.
Yeah, this one's coming off more like a dank IPA for me, whereas the Alvarado Street, again, it had that kind of hazy vibe going on, and it cleans up. It's like off your palate after you swallow. It's just gone. It doesn't linger at all. That's why I think that one's so crushable, because something that is hoppy like this tends to be taxing after a while, where it's just like, God, I just want to drink a water now, just to kind of flush it all away.
Clean
You
it
get
up.
palate fatigue, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also say that it's pretty wild that this beer is almost 6%? Like, it is so drinkable for being almost that ABV. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Drinkability is like critical with the West Coast pills. You do have to. There's a fine line between too much hops. You really can go too far, and there's a lot of restraint. And especially the Cellarmaker. It seems like it's a little more subdued, like you were saying. It's still pilsnerish.
It's crazy to me that these drink so much lighter, I feel, than almost 6%. But maybe I'm...
It's also like, I mean, people will, like, we've kind of started talking about West Coast Pilsner, and I looked at the same hop culture article that Greg did, where they're kind of talking about the history of the style or whatever. And it is weird how it does kind of do its own thing. It doesn't taste like an IPL. It doesn't taste like a cold IPA. Like, those
crisp.
are all similar approaches, but it tastes like its own thing. It's a different
It keeps
beer.
its crisp. If you like dry beers, like West Coast Pils is where it's at, man.
It's my favorite style right now. I'm completely in love with it.
It's
all I wanna
forever my
drink.
beer style.
That's all I wanted to drink.
I was at Everywhere yesterday, and I had 2 of these.
Did you give Ryan a big hug? I love that guy.
He was down at a festival at this place called Project Social, I think, in Dana Point.
So
It's
this
their
is
6th year anniversary.
the only can that has different art. They did.
Let's get a cleaner start on this one. So up next, we are opening Everywhere Beer Company's version of Timbo Pills, and as Joe was pointing out, they have it's similar can art, but it's definitely different. It's
It's the MS Paint version.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's very while Highland Park's is like, I don't know, abstract art looking kind of thing. This is very much. This looks like they had an idea for a Timbo Pills label, and they just went with like the idea instead of actually designing a label. I think that's a good way to put it.
It looks like AI. Hey AI, can you make me a Timbo Pills esque
Greg,
can label art?
You gotta turn the camera thing off. The eye thing off.
Stop looking at me, dude. I can't do it.
On this one, the fucking at least the guitar strings are intact.
They are. They're not broken.
That is, yeah. Gosh, this one smells so good too. This one's super fruity to me.
So I was at Everywhere yesterday, and I enjoyed 2 of these glasses of Timbo Pills there. It was an amazing time and delicious.
Did they still have the McElhaney collab on? That beer is fucking awesome.
I didn't get that far. Like, this was on the very top of the hoppy beer menu, and did not go underneath it, unfortunately.
It's the "We Got Timbo at Home" label.
Yeah.
You ever see those memes? It's like when you order Make-A-Wish Klay Thompson, and it's the dude who looks like Klay Thompson, but it's not really him. It's the Make-A-Wish label.
I'm not gonna lie, I sort of think this is my number 2 behind.
This is really good, dude.
Highland Park. It's really pushing the boundaries of that lemon verbena thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got over a cold, so I'm not sure if that's just my palate.
No, it's super citrusy.
Very lemon, like Bed Bath and Beyond lemon verbena lotion.
I feel like this is the first one where the Citra is more dominant than the Mosaic.
I was actually going to say the exact same thing. This is the first one that I feel like we're getting more of the Citra than the Mosaic.
For me on the nose, this is like a blend of the Alvarado Street and the Highland Park. I'm getting just a hint of that kind of hazy nose on there, but that citrus, it's just bursting out of the glass. But it comes off to me on the nose like a mixture of the two, which again, super interesting.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, this one isn't as it is. I think a little bit closer in the body to the Highland Park version. It feels a little bit fuller and not as like thin and crushable as say the Cellarmaker one. But the hop profile being less dank gives this one kind of its own unique character. This is they turned down the Mosaic, and I love Mosaic, but this mix is really good.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Mosaic can get overwhelming with other hops. I feel like it can get super dank and like kind of take things over, which I don't mind. But I fucking love Citra, and this is like a rad expression of Citra hops.
And I will say that this version is the brightest of the 4 that we've had so far, even over Highland Park. It's way brighter. It's amplified a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the hops, right? The Citra hop gives you such like a citrusy brightness, and they're letting Citra kind of take the lead a little bit more. Where in some of the other beers, if you would have told me there was Citra in it, I wouldn't have even known. Like all you're getting is Mosaic for the most part.
It is definitely a hop flavor that is providing the brightness. It's not like like a pH thing,
right?
That's good. This is really, really good.
Every can I open, I say to myself, okay, this one is my favorite. And that's what I'm thinking with this one. Like, I've been here while you guys are talking, kind of just going between all the beers, and there's not any beer that I dislike, but it's, like you said, Greg, this is brighter. It finishes super clean. I mean, I think I said this about the Cellarmaker one. Or was it the Alvarado Street? Maybe it was the being crushable. Maybe I think it was Alvarado Street. And this one is the new crusher. Like it's super just Pilsner forward, but citrus on the nose. And then, you get a good amount of bitterness, but it goes away pretty quickly. And
it's definitely not
nice
taxing.
clean. No.
Gosh, it's good. We're so lucky. Look at us drinking the best beer.
No,
look at us.
Like,
look at us drinking not Michigan beer.
Yeah, I feel like was it Cellarmaker or Alvarado?
Alvarado was the more earthy one.
It is, yeah, for sure. Okay.
Can you stop doing that? Okay. I don't like it.
Oh god.
That is fucking so creepy.
So, Jason, what were you going to say?
I'm going back and revisiting some of the old ones and comparing to this one.
Okay.
It's so fun to see the different takes. It's like, it feels like they're all trying to hit this beer and make it like a crusher in a different way, right? And I felt like a little bit of the body was removed in the Cellarmaker one, which made it kind of a little bit more watery. Where this one doesn't have that. It still has that full body that the Highland Park one does, but they did a different approach to hopping it, where the hops aren't as taxing on your palate, so it makes it a beer that you want a liter of because they had the hops kind of ease up on you a little bit. And so it does feel like we're like fine-tuning engineering this beer that you need to drink 2 liters of it.
That's seriously, that's what it's getting, because I think as far as like hop punch in the mouth goes, Highland Park was the one. That's the hoppiest. I don't know, the lingering hops, the bitterness, everything. That's where it's at. And then the Alvarado Street, again, even when I go back and smell it, even as it's warming up, the earthiness in there is just super prominent. Like, just it dominates everything. If anything,
it's like a Nelson vibe to it.
I don't know, maybe, yeah.
I got Nelson vibes out of the Alvarado one for sure.
And then the Cellarmaker version is, I think, probably my second behind.
And what's cool about this is trying different. It all boils down to house character and water profiles, and maybe when somebody got their lots of hops in, and that's the subtle differences in these beers. It's an agriculture product in all these, but also it's the manpower that like sort of pulls. Maybe somebody did a 90-minute mash versus a 60-minute, or.
See, I wonder how much you can deviate from the recipe. That's because if you can just use it as a framework, then I can see why these are so different. But if they're saying,
are there ABV differences?
No, they're all 5.8.
5.8. Okay.
Yeah. So
it was fun,
again,
like when. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like if they're allowing them to tweak it however they want and just say this is what you got to stick with, then I can see why they're different. But if it's the same, you got to do it this way, you mash for this long and you lauter for this long, and this is the when you put the hops in, this is how the days between dry hopping, then that just makes it even more fascinating because they're completely different.
We should try to talk to the guys at Everywhere. They'd talk to us.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, I know Stefan.
Like, hey, what did you guys do? Like, how does it work when you get in on this? Like, do they send you the recipe and then you tweak it? Like, is it that you're all brewing the same thing with different materials and just kind of doing it with brewing technique, or like
maybe there's different hop farms, difference in hop lots and
That's
hop
a good
farms,
point.
maybe different years. Like I said, agriculture changes all the time, and what you derive out of hops from year to year totally changes. So I did the suicide Timbo.
Did you?
I poured 4
I've
into
got
one.
too.
I'm gonna do that.
This
too.
is only 3 though. I just finished the Highland Park one.
It's fun. I just want real quick. When we first had the idea of doing a Timbo show, I'm like, like on paper it sounds fun, but maybe they'll just all taste the same. It's crazy how different they taste being the same recipe.
No.
It's fun. I'm so glad we did this.
It's like doing an IPA showdown. That's why those showdowns were so fascinating, because if you buy like a 6-pack of, I don't know, Stone IPA, you're drinking it and you don't really analyze it that much. You're just like, okay, I know I'm drinking Stone IPA, and for what it is, it's fine. It's a good beer. But when you compare it to something else that's similar, obviously it's a completely different beer. Like, it's just fascinating how different they are. And when you don't know what you're drinking, that's what really makes it interesting. This would be fun to do blind, like, and then rank them and all that kind of thing.
Next year we'll do a blind Timbo showdown.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun. Like, I've just poured all 4 of them too.
Okay, I guess I got to do it.
It's
too.
worse than
What stands out?
It's worse than each of them individually. It's not
Really?
Yes.
Mine's fine.
It's fine, but it's clearly the worst of the bunch. Like, it's every one of them individually was better than the combo.
I feel like the Alvarado Street's going to throw a monkey wrench into the whole cuvee thing.
Speaking of Monkey Wrench, the Foo Fighters show that we talked about, went to it. Fucking amazing.
Nice.
Good
Dave
segue.
Grohl. Dave Grohl's awesome. That dude.
I met Dave Grohl one time at a Darkness show in LA.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
what's
Dude, they
up,
played
Dave?
for 3 hours. It was insane.
It was
That's
Dave
a show.
Grohl and the drummer dude Taylor that died.
Yeah.
Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah.
I'm saying they came out
We were
during.
all waiting for the women that we were with to get out of the bathroom.
So were they?
That's
Yeah.
funny.
They're like, we want your ladies.
I was just like, "Hey, you're Dave Grohl. I'm a big fan. Love your
That's
stuff."
cool.
There you go.
So you
Yeah.
played with
It's
with
awesome.
Kurt Cobain, huh?
Was he just like,
That's-
thanks,
that's cool.
man? I could
Like,
see him
are
be
you
like,
Dave
thanks,
Grohl of
man.
Nirvana and the Foo Fighters? Yeah.
You played.
That's
You met
Sick,
Paul
man.
McCartney once. Yeah, that's cool.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when you put it in that light, I'd be like, you're from Nirvana, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're legend. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
What's your favorite coffee in Seattle, man?
I mean, like, generationally, honestly, like, meeting Dave Grohl would be like meeting the Beatles for my parents, I feel like. It was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
again,
You know what
this guy was in fucking Nirvana.
You know what I didn't realize though? He was like the third drummer they had. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but they didn't really record. Or I think the other drummer was on Bleach, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I thought he was the OG drummer of the band. I didn't realize it wasn't him.
You know Eddie Vedder's from San Diego? Well, you probably know that. You're from San Diego.
Everyone
I'm
knows
not
that.
from San Diego. I just live here.
Same shit.
From NorCal Playa. Dude, have you seen the meme where it says Pearl Jam sings the LinkedIn names and it's all the fucking names? It's so good, dude. I gotta send it to you guys.
I don't know where I'm to be. Greg, turn the eye contact off. Turn it off. Motherfucker.
Now I'm actually looking at the camera.
Well, turn it off.
I don't believe
I'm
you.
looking at the camera.
Turn your
I turned it
goddamn
off.
eyes off.
All right, here we go. All right, I turned it off. Now I'm actually looking at the camera.
Look down. That's somehow creepier.
What are we doing next? The New Zealand one?
I think we should go to the New Zealand Timbo because the last one we have is the Terpees version.
New Zealand one. Was that the Turple one?
That's
It's
this
the
one, little
12 ounce can. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
Yes, you
I've
did.
never seen Highland Park do
What are you talking
12 ounce
about?
cans. By
Let
the
me go
way.
check.
You absolutely did.
I hope you did.
He drank that shit. Legitimately, though, I've never gotten 12 ounce cans from Highland Park. This is new.
Listen, I'm all about the 12 ounce format these days. I don't know if I'm getting older, but I appreciate 12 ounce formats, regardless of the ABV.
I love a pint can. So
Do you?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Because every time I pour like a pint into a glass, it's like there's always like 2 ounces left. So I immediately just chug the 2 ounces from the can. And then I feel like if I wasn't chugging that, I could, drink more. And it sounds weird, right? Because
Oh, thank goodness you do have it. I was worried for a second.
I've sized my glassware mostly where it all fits full pints. So
it depends on the
glasses
head.
that I use. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something. I was going to say I have that old Modern Times tulip glass that fits an entire bomber in it, I think. You have that one?
I use the Duvel tulip. That's like my go-to for everything.
I don't like the
Duvel.
flare on the Duvel glass.
That's too big.
Well, I'm not putting it in my asshole.
Good.
Thank God.
That'd
You
be
should.
dangerous. I should.
So what is this New Zealand one?
Does anybody have a New Zealand accent? Remember the Bushwhackers, Jason? Speaking of New Zealand.
They were New Zealand?
Oh,
Timbo Peels?
No, I mean, that's what they were built. Maybe they were. I
Greg?
don't know.
Greg, you want to know about New Zealand Timbo Peels?
That's pretty good.
Oh,
We'll go with that.
NZ Timbo uses a hop combo of Mosaic, Citra, Nelson, Salvin, and Motueka.
Don't you remember those
I
dudes
kinda
would,
lost
like
that.
they would lick people, remember? They would like lick people
Yeah,
in
the
the crowd.
Bushwhackers, but they were
Yeah.
from Australia, I'm pretty sure.
I thought they were New Zealand.
No,
Come
I don't think
on,
anyone
man.
ever heard of New Zealand.
Close
Hold on a
enough.
second.
Nobody heard of New
Bushwhackers.
Zealand until Lord of the Rings.
Dude, I'm going to die on the hill that they were from New Zealand.
I love how many world maps that New Zealand's not on.
Per Wikipedia, the Bushwhackers were a professional wrestling tag team who competed first as the New Zealand Kiwis and then as the Sheepherders. Fucking New Zealand.
All right.
They were known as the sheep herders at one point?
The
Whatever they
Sheepherders.
were, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure they
Jesus.
were a racist stereotype. But they would
Wow.
go like this, right?
Oh yeah, they would
Their
lick.
whole
They
fucking
would
thing.
fucking lick people. I'm like, what are you doing?
They just looked like hillbillies, but they were like foreign hillbillies.
Yeah,
So they were
this is
exotic.
news
like
to
no-
me. I thought they were just two crazy looking dudes that, were the bushwhackers. And turns out they're from New Zealand. So
Yeah,
today I
Well,
learned
they
it.
were-
this
they
one.
were built from there.
This beer is 5%.
So this one's 5. This one's 5%. You said
This is 5, yeah. So a little bit less alcohol.
it smells a little subdued, doesn't it, John?
I don't know what I'm getting. It's like candy a little bit.
It's a little like Starbursty, maybe.
Man, what is that? I get a little hint of like vanilla
it
on there.
still has Mosaic and Citra, but then they're adding in Nelson and Motueka. So
I don't really get much of those. I mean, granted, I just got over a cold, and I'm still getting that big lemon verbena thing.
they refer to this in the description as a more delicate Timbo influenced Pilsner that has a more crushable, less hopped version of Timbo.
I was gonna say, so this is very. You guys were saying soft about the Alvarado Street one. I think this is very soft and very. It's not crazy hoppy on your
like
palate.
hazy IPA vibes.
Yes. Like that's kind of that juice bomby kind of a thing.
Yeah. They do say in the description too, it has notes of gooseberry. So just for
Gooseberries aren't real.
Who's like Joe?
It's not a real thing.
I mean, gooseberries are delicious, but I don't get much gooseberry in here at all. The color looks a little lighter on this one too. Very, very pale yellow. It's very like lemon pie.
It's also got a little kiwi on there, on the Timbo guy.
I was gonna say, what's the little creature on the top? That's like a what is that?
It's the shoe polish thing.
It's literally a kiwi. The bird up there on the brown one.
It's called. Those are called kiwis.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know what the other one is. It looks like some sort of fucking lorikeet or some shit.
Lorikeet.
I thought that was like a
Motherfucker.
I thought it was like a platypus or something.
No, it's lorikeet. That's the goddamn name of a bird.
Is it? It's not a puffin?
Welcome to Bird Talk with Jason Harris.
Puffins are black with like orange and white beaks.
You're the bird whisperer.
Fucking lorikeet.
It's a Lorini.
Well, I don't know what the difference between a lorini and a lorikeet is, but either way, that's kind of what it looks like. Although this one's kind of fat, so I don't know.
It might be a kakapo
Could be,
Kakapo.
man.
or a kaka.
You know what?
This is fifth show.
Yeah, we're learning about birds with the four brewers. Anyways,
We're the
We were
four,
talking about
four
tangents
birders.
yesterday, and oh my god,
We're the four birders.
I kind of
the
feel like
brown
we
one
should
is
have.
definitely a kiwi for sure.
I think it's a kakapo. Kakapo.
what are we doing?
So much bird talk.
Kakapo is what we're doing.
After drinking this one, it makes me wish we would have started with this one because this one feels so much less like it's more subdued and less flavorful than Timbo.
Yeah, it's not as intense.
It is a
Right.
bit of a. Is this me again? Am I presenting somehow?
That's me. So I got here's the kakapo on the ground birds.
We're now a bird podcast.
Can you put the bushwhackers up there?
The weird thing is, I Googled the exact same thing and I was looking at that exact same page. So I was really tripping out. Like, I turned my presentation off. How's it back on?
No, it looks like a takahe. Maybe
does
with that
kinda look
funky
like-
beak takahe thing. It's a flightless bird.
You guys have Google phones with like smart cameras on them. Can you just like take a picture of it with your phone and do Google magic?
Yeah, it'll do some AI nonsense and tell me something fucking useless and tell me to eat a dick.
That chat comment, four birders.
Four
birders.
birders, dude.
That's fucking hilarious.
Brown cheek.
It's a
God.
brown cheek. It's not a black cock.
It's the brown cheek. I don't know why that's so good.
So thoughts on the beer?
This beer is it is a challenge drinking this. Like, we definitely should have had this first. It is just
It's an
a
outlier
lighter
for sure.
It's a lighter version of what all these ones are doing, and having it after having four of the heavier version
Right. Yeah.
is just kind of like, well, this tastes very mild and mellow,
Mhm.
which
Which still
it's-
goddamn delicious though.
That's
Like,
yeah.
it
if
really
I was to
is,
get this
yeah.
pint, I'd be like, I'll take 3 of these.
Oh yeah, dude. If you could sit at
Yeah,
Highland Park
it's a
and just
crusher.
drink pints of this, you're stoked.
So we all did a cuvee pour. How does it compare to the blend? Because for me, it's kind of like the blend of all three, with
I
more
didn't
of
like
like
the
a.
Kubi at all.
But
Well,
it has more
and-
of like a malty vanilla vibe on the nose for me. You didn't like the cuvee, Jason.
I mean, it was fine, but it was worse than each beer individually.
Okay.
I agree with that. Like, it didn't do it any favors. It was just fine.
It just made it a mess, right? Where it was like these beers really clearly had some thought and craft put into them, and just mashing them all together indiscriminately, I think negated all of that.
You know what we should do is definitely go get a Pilsner from Highland Park and then get their West Coast IPA and then just do a 50-50 blend.
What is like Highland Park's like house pilsner? Do they have one?
It's Refresh. Yeah, they sell it in
Refresh.
pitchers for Dodger games and shit.
Oh, do they? It's called Refresh, you said?
Yeah.
I've never had that beer, but I love Hello LA.
I think for this beer being 5%, it comes off like a bigger beer as far as like it's not thin, because this is borderlining on session like IPA for lack of a better term.
This does taste like a session IPA for sure. It's got that kind of thinner mouthfeel and like
I think it's got a pretty ample mouthfeel, and the body on it's like, actually, that's why I'm saying I'm comparing it to a session IPA, where a session IPA you expect to have like a thinner, kind of watery mouthfeel, and this is not like that. This I don't know. It's good.
I agree with that. Remember yesterday at Green Cheek, I was drinking that 4.3%, and you're like, oh, it smells like a session. This doesn't smell like a session beer. Like, it smells better than that.
Yeah, and I think that's accurate. Like, if you smell a session IPA, you can kind of smell a session IPA. It's because they usually come off more malt forward because they're trying to amplify that body, and the hops they're not showcased as much because they're trying to make up for the lack of alcohol or the lower alcohol with the body.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is if you're ever like in Europe and you get an IPA that's like it's 5% IPA. You're like, what the fuck? It's definitely in this vein of it's got the hops. It's sort of grassy and sort of pilsnerish, and it's very light bodied. And for some reason, they call it an IPA in Europe. I don't know.
5% IPAs give me flashbacks to Utah.
Yeah.
What's a 5% IPA you had in Utah?
I don't know. I had a bunch of winter bullshit.
They just weren't good though.
The beer fucking sucked. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The beer situation in Utah is fucking dire. There's a reason that
Utah.
that Epic Brewery just fucking moved. They're like, fuck it, we're going to Colorado.
Dude, I was telling that story. You said that people have to go behind a fucking curtain to like pour your beer and bring it out. And I was like, what?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, dude. It's fucked, man.
Someone in the chat said 4 BBCs, and I cannot fucking stop laughing at that. Holy smokes.
Fucking,
you're talking about Blackhawk Brewing, dude. 4 BBCs.
Oh, there we go.
I was at the hotel bar at my hotel the first night I was in Utah. And I was like, I had an hour to kill before dinner. And I was like, can I get a beer? And they only had bottled beer, which is annoying. And then it was like, oh, you have to buy food. And then they have a big sign that's like,
you have to buy food in order to get a beer?
Yes.
What?
We're licensed as a restaurant, so you have to buy food to get beer. And I'm like, but I'm waiting for dinner. I don't want food. I just want a fucking beer to kill time. And I was like, just give me a water. And then I just went back to my room and sat and played on my phone until I was done. I was like, this sucks.
You're like, do you have a bag of pretzels I can order?
No, I wasn't going to play the game.
Yeah.
They were all really like it, which is funny because when you go to places, they like are like that too. They're like, you know, you have to have food. Like pretzels can be food, or like French fries, or the cheapest thing on the menu. That's fine as long as you order food. Like they're clearly annoyed by it too.
Right.
And like everybody is just working around this stupid fucking rule. And it's like, God damn it. Just sell me a beer. Don't make me fucking drink a beer through a hole in a sheet.
I'm definitely never going to Utah. I'll tell you that much.
Holy shit. Good Christ.
Holy shit.
Just smell crack this and smell it.
I opened it and it smelled like I had been out.
It smelled like you walked in on somebody's
dude, it
smoking.
smelled. This is fucking
we gotta,
weed,
hold
dude.
on.
This smells more like
hold
weed.
on.
Hold on.
Okay.
I have an open mind. We need a clean
my gosh.
start here.
Live
Stop.
reaction, John Holzer.
So up next from Highland Park, our final beer in the Timbo series. This is Turple Timbo. This is Timbo pills, but they've added cannabis terpenes to it.
Yes, they have.
Apparently, it's very aromatic. I haven't opened mine yet.
No.
As soon as I cracked it, it was insane.
Oh, God.
Holy smokes.
Oh, God.
Dude, this smells fucking crazy.
Dank after this because
God damn it. I can't drink this.
This is, yes, you can. This is absolutely wild.
Yeah, you're going to test positive for marijuana.
Am I really?
John's going to fail a random drug test. With
this smells like literally grass in my glass.
Dude, this is insane what this smells like.
This is like spicy.
It smells like this.
Oh,
It's got some like burnt tire.
Like I joked around about it smelling like the Sizzy store. This smells like a dispensary when you walk into it. It does.
Dispensary, yeah, it does, yeah. And also like burnt tire in there. There's
Oh my gosh.
I really feel like I shouldn't drink this because I'm not allowed to imbibe the marijuanas.
Listen, I might be in the minority. I love the way this smells just because I love that smell.
This is incredible on the nose. This is
it's
intense.
wild. It's fucking wild.
We should have started this with this one.
You know what sucks is like I have an extra can of this I was going to do a YouTube video of, and I can't.
You need
like
to.
my
You have an
reaction,
extra
won't-
cannabis?
but my reaction won't be the same as this. You
You're
know, like
right.
I've already had it. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, just throw a clip in of this, and then
Yeah.
you're good.
This
You
is
have an
fucking
extra
crazy. This is insane.
Did you say cannabis?
Can't you have an extra cannabis?
It smells like resinous, like just thick. Like if you were able to squeeze juice out of a hop, that's what this smells like. It's just intensely.
Dude, it smells
Resinous.
like a cashed bowl. It smells like it's crazy what this smells like.
It does smell like a smoked bowl of weed, like because it's got like that kind of charred aroma too. Not fresh weed, but that charred. I just smoked a bowl.
And you can taste it. You can fucking taste what it smells like.
It tastes like weed.
It does.
And
It
I don't
tastes
think-
like you're
And I don't
eating
think
weed.
that's a good thing.
For me, on the flavor, this is not nearly as huge as the nose.
It's not bong watery at all.
I've never had bong water, but
I watched a dude. There was a dude in high school that did that. I'm like, don't do that. He chugged the bong water. I'm like, fuck.
This is kind of fucking gnarly, guys.
Really? I don't. It's not that bad on the
I'm
palate.
not super into this one.
I mean, I like it, but I like that stuff.
I
Holy
mean,
smokes.
I don't mind that stuff, but I don't know if it's the flavor of a beverage that I want.
God, what is the rating on Untapped for this beer? It's got to
This
be
is
through
a
the roof.
Fucking
It's
weird
definitely
one.
a shocker, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you gave this to anybody, they're like, well, "Holy shit, you're drinking a weed beer?"
Right.
4.26 on Untapped. I
Look at
fucking
whoa,
told you.
really?
Yes, I told you.
Wow.
These fucking hopheads on
Yeah,
Untapped. Give me a
dude,
break.
it's
Stoners, dude. I love it.
Fucking.
This
terps,
is incredibly.
I mean, this literally
aromatic.
tastes like if you rip a vape pen, it tastes like what goes into your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it does. I just don't like that as a beverage per se.
per se.
I
Dude,
think
it's got-
overall it's really good. It's actually crushable for me. I get more of the intense aromatics than I do the flavor, and I'm gonna finish this can. But
I'm saying
the first time you open it, though, you're not ready for it. It's intense. It's crazy.
the name
It's a
of this
shock.
beer is perfect. It is Turple, like it is terps.
Oh,
I've had a lot of beers that have terpenes in them. Like this is not a new gimmick. I've seen other people do it.
what
And,
are
like,
what are terpenes?
it's the things that make weed taste or smell like weed is pretty much what
There's
it is.
terpenes in a lot of things in nature. Like, think of like pine needles have terpenes
Okay.
in them.
It's like the
So it's
aromatic
like that,
part of
like
a plant,
aromatic-
I think. Yeah.
Like oily aromatics.
Okay,
By the way, does anybody get Oscar the Grouch vibes from this label?
Oh yeah,
I do. Yeah, I think that's intentional.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So is
obviously
it like what am I thinking of? Like a hash oil kind of thing? Is that where you'd get terpenes? Kind of. I don't know.
No,
I don't
just
know
like-
much about
like-
weed, but
Pot plants are oily. Hops have terpenes as well.
right.
Okay.
Or like vape is
I'm just-
concentrated oil, like that's what it smells like.
Lupulin,
It's terpene.
terpes.
man, this
I-
smells like again. It smells like burnt weed. Like it's not smoky.
I've never had a hoppy beer that smells or tastes like this ever.
Again, I've had multiple beers that have terpenes in them, like cannabis terpenes. Like this is not a new idea, but this is the weediest beer I've ever had, including
It's
like-
it smells like a sack.
including like fucking Lagunitas and Stone, who were like, we have our 420 beer.
I mean, could this be considered a weed beer, like on the same level as like the Lagunitas weed beer? Because they
Well,
made
no, because
like
there's
actual.
no THC.
Oh,
in
this is way danker than like the Lagunitas.
That's what I'm saying. There's no THC in this, right? It's just
No.
This is the
Okay.
dankest beverage I've ever had in my entire life.
It'd be a lot cooler if there was, but I don't think you're allowed to have both.
That's right, because Lagunitas is just the one they make is just a THC.
This beer is
Beverage.
fucking crazy. I
Dude,
like
this
it.
I
is
think
good.
they just put weed in the hoppy refresher or whatever the fuck. I think is what Lagunitas did, but I haven't
Mm.
seen their drink in a while. I think they stopped making, or whatever it is. I haven't seen it around.
Dude, I fucking
That's
love
insane,
this
man.
beer. I love it.
I'd like to see what Jesse Friedman from Almanac thinks of this beer because he's a hop head or a weed head.
I'm not a fan. Like I make drinks where I put like liquid THC stuff in them, and like it's not a great flavor. Like it's a flavor you're trying to cover usually.
I've always liked that flavor.
I use the St. Ides. St. Ides like is the Arizona iced
God.
tea of fucking weed.
Flashbacks.
Where you
St.
can
Ides.
get for $7.99 a 100 milligram like little jar, and it's printed on the label that it's $7.99. Like like Arizona iced
Is
tea.
that
They're
the-
like, you can't mark this shit up. This is how much it costs.
St. Ides is the 40 ounce from.
I was
I
thinking about-
assume-
I was
it's
thinking
the
of malt
same
liquor.
branding. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
It's got
I-
the S, like the
yeah.
It's a squiggly line.
Same
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, and St. Ides was the shit. It was a 99-cent 40 ounce.
My first alcoholic beverages were St. Ides, the fruity beverages
S
they made.
to the
and-
T to the
One
I,
of my
D,
favorite
yes.
cheap beer corners that we did was the St. Ides with the Rottweiler on it. It was like the dark black and purple can with the Rottweiler. It was just like this can. Everything in this can is telling you not to drink it. Like, it looks like a warning label.
It's got the devil's lettuce in it.
It didn't have weed in it in the malt liquor. The weed is a lot better than the malt liquor was. Let's just say that.
I'm gonna have my wife come out here. I just texted her. I'm like, come out here. I want her to smell this and see what she says as someone who's.
Dude.
But
I
live
just wanna- I want to see what she
reactions.
says. I'm not gonna have her on camera, but I just want her to smell
Let's
it.
do it. Let's have her on camera.
No,
Live
I was
reaction.
talking to John about that yesterday. I don't want my wife on camera.
Yeah. The aroma on
My
this
wife.
is, again,
My
incredible.
wife.
It's
I'm not
Oh.
subjecting her to the internet. So they brewed this beer with terpenes. What does that smell like? Yeah, smell that. You just. What does it smell like? Yeah, it's just all it smells like weed. That's exactly what it is. Isn't that crazy? That's the dankest beer I've ever smelled. Yeah.
It's got dog shit.
You're fucking dog shit, man.
overall, this was a very interesting show, especially the last two beers. But
for a beer or show where we drank the same beer 6 times,
exactly.
it has surprisingly a lot of variety.
Yeah, super interesting, and it just goes to show, like, again, Russian River, the recipe for Pliny is out there. Like, you can brew it as a home brewer, as a pro brewery. It doesn't mean you're going to brew Pliny. It's going to be, there's a lot of factors involved and things that can change. Like Greg said, the water profile. That's one thing that just has such a huge impact. And Greg, turn the eye thing off, please. It's still creeping me out. And this was a really fun show. I'm glad we did this. And Joe, thank you for hooking us up with these beers. You sent me a note. The dude's name on the note. I think I have it on my phone, but my phone's my camera right now.
I think it's.
But thank you.
I think it was Brett who sent them. Was it Brett?
Yeah, that sounds right, Brett.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
So thank
he hooked
you.
it up.
Yeah,
dude.
shout out to Brett.
Yeah.
yeah. This was
You-
fucking awesome.
He was at Highland Park and sent me a picture of a whole case of beer, and he's like, "You want these?" I'm like, "Sure. Where do I pay you?"
Yeah, and we were kicking around the idea of doing it, but it was like, well, how are we going to get there? Because they did like 3 different releases, and getting to LA is a pain in the ass. And,
Oh yeah.
for him doing the legwork and hooking you up, and there
It was
by
super
hooking us
rad,
up,
Yeah.
super awesome. So
Yeah.
much appreciated. Like, yeah, so awesome show, guys. This was fun.
This fucking Turple beer is insane.
Purples.
Hey everyone, John here. Thanks for listening to another episode of 4 Brewers. You can go to 4brewers.com for show notes, past episodes, and photos of all the beers we sample on the show. Go to supporttheshitoutofit.com or patreon.com/4brewers to support the show to get some cool perks and the Patreon exclusive supporter glassware that we send out to our supporters every year for free. Watch all of our video content, including my beer reviews, Cheap Beer Corner, and the occasional vlog at 4brewers.com/YouTube or youtube.com/4brewersshow. Follow us on Instagram at 4brewers and follow us on Untapped at 4brewers. Go to twitch.tv/4brewers or 4brewers.com/live to watch the live stream of our recording sessions and some occasional 4B gameplay. Leave a 5-star review of the show on Apple Podcasts because it really helps us with the rankings and visibility of the show in the Apple Podcast directory. And if you have any feedback, questions, concerns, or you want to send some beers our way, email us at feedback@4brewers.com and brew the shit out of it.